Let's pray together. Father, again this morning as we come before you, we do as we so many times, Lord, when we come before you like this, we ask you, Lord, to be with us now in this time as we discuss and make decisions about the business of the county, Lord. And we pray, as we always pray, Lord, that you would give us guidance and wisdom, and that the decisions we make, Lord, would be the best ones to suit all the people of Simpson County and in the area. Lord, we come before you, and we are thankful that we can come before you, that you like to hear from your people, and you want to have fellowship with us, Lord. So we pray for those people around us, and friends and neighbors that are in need of your help today and your guidance, Lord. We pray that you would be near them, they would feel your presence, Lord. We thank you for all your provisions, Lord, for us each and every day. And we're thankful again this day to be before you, Lord, and we ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, gentlemen, today we've got a glad to have a visitor with us here today, Mr. James Moore with South Central Workforce Development. And I've met with James a couple of times. He took over for Chad Spencer. I was at a loss for his last name there for just a second, that had been serving our area. So I'll let James tell a little bit about what his job duty and title is, and talk to us a little bit about what workforce development does in our area. I told him if I held up my hand like this, that meant it was time to move on because we had other business to tend to. No.
I can go on for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about my job. So, I'm James Moore, and I am the Director of Programs and Apprenticeship for South Central Kentucky Workforce Development Board. We serve the Teague County, the old Brad area. We serve that Teague County area. I've been doing this for a few years now. I had a counterpart in this area, Chad Spencer. Hopefully you all got to meet Chad and got to know him a little bit. Chad is no longer with us, so I'm picking up Chad's area and taking and running with that. One thing I do want to announce right now before I go into detail about some of my programs, May the 19th at the Sky Center, the Sky CTC Community College here from 9 to 2. I'm putting on a job fair for your employers in your community, hopefully employees in the future. We need several employees to go to work in this region, and we're trying to do job fairs to get those individuals to work and partner with your employers to get that done. So that will be May the 19th from 9 to 2. One of the things, another gentleman was going to be with me today. Of course, he's from Russell Springs, and as you all know, we've had a little bit of rain in the last 24 hours, and hopefully he's okay and not too far delayed. Aaron, he wanted to talk to you all about reentry. He's our reentry coordinator, so he wanted to talk a little bit about that and being able to help with putting individuals that are incarcerated back to work and to overcome some of those barriers. So hopefully before I get done talking, he might pop in to talk a little more about that. One of the things that I want to tell you all that we do, we take care of the WIOA programs, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act from 1993. And what that basically is the federal government back in those days decided that they needed to fund and help people to be able to get back to work, give them some type of certification, upskill them, things of that nature, to where they can get back to work and be productive citizens of the communities. We're trying to change generations is what we're trying to do. Instead of basically going home after graduation, we actually want them to go into the workforce. So that's one of the things that are big objectives. So I'm trying to cram all this in as quick as I can. So if you do have questions afterwards, I'm going to leave you my card and a pamphlet with employer services that we do. You can call me, email me, or anything of that nature and get in touch with me, and I can answer any of the questions. But what we try to do is, for example, individuals that have barriers such as transportation, and things of that nature that can't get to work, we help them with situations of that. We help individuals that may need some little extra push on soft skills and things of that nature. We help fund those type of things. And we have three basic programs right now that we do. It's called WEX, which is work experience. Those are individuals that have not ever worked and they put on don't have anything to put on the resume. Well, it's hard to get a job if you've not ever had a job. if you don't have experience, nobody wants to hire you. You can't get experience without a job. So what this does, it takes the burden off of employers and allows us to be able to help fund that work experience individual. So what we basically would do would be, for example, if Judge Barnes wanted someone to help as an intern here in the fiscal court, they could do paperwork, web development, all kinds of different things, and I would be able to pay them a $10 an hour wage to be able to assist with that. And they're going to be able to put that on their resume when they go look for a job. That's why it's called work experience. And that usually runs about 250 hours is what that does. The next one is called an OJT, an on-the-job training program. And what we do there with employers is if you're willing to hire an individual, we're going to split that cost with you. For example, if they're paying them $15 an hour as an entry-level employee, we're going to pay $7.50 of it. And the reason why we do that is because a lot of these individuals need some extra upskilling, as I mentioned, and need some extra training. So we want to help offset some of that cost for employers with a particular participant that we're putting into their employee. And to do that, we split the cost of that. Now, we don't do anything with benefits. We only split the cost on the hourly wage. So if it's $20, we'd split $10 on it. If it's $10, we do the $5. So the ultimate goal is to get someone into the WEX program and then, of course, in the OJT program, because then they're full-time employees somewhere. And that benefits all of us in our communities because that helps with economic development, taxes, the whole 9 yards. We all know that. So that's our ultimate goal, and that's what we do in South Central Workforce Development Board. Now, currently we have what we call a National Dislocated Workers Grant. Back last year, we had a company up in Berrien County that was closing their doors. It was a magazine company, R.R. Donnelly's. I'm sure y'all have heard of them before. They printed magazines. We know that that's the way of the past. Everything's gone digital. You get your magazines on your phone now, all of those things. So that type of business is going out, just like newspapers and things. We're unfortunately seeing those type of businesses slowing down. So one of the things that we did was we went for a grant for the National Dislocated Workers, which would have helped those 572 people get training and go back to work. And of course, that happened last February, and then the COVID happened. So what happened at that point, the state of Kentucky gave us more money and expanded that to anyone that has not been working for the last 27 weeks, either drawing unemployment or actually just haven't been able to draw unemployment or haven't been able to find a job or anything of that nature. Could be a lot of different reasons why they've not been working. We have funds to be able to help them to get to work, and we have funds to be able to pay that employer for them to be able to work. And I would love to talk to any of you all if you own a business about those 3 programs. I've said a lot in just a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions about those? Please ask anything.
I don't really have a question, but I do want to thank you for something. James has been by to see me a couple of times, and then I contacted him by email because I had a particular business here that was having trouble, and James said he would reach out to him and said he would put together a job fair. So now in 2 weeks' time, he's going to have a job fair here in Simpson County, and I hope the employers will take advantage of that. And if James, if y'all have like some type of flyer,
yes,
or
our
any,
marketing lady, she is.
if
She'll
you-
be out this afternoon. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, she should have that done today.
if you can get that to us, we'll try to get it on our website and to some social media to kind of put it out there and get it obviously to Denny and to Steve Thurman so that they can get it out to our chamber and industrial board members.
Yeah, Denny and Steve have both been very great to work with the last couple of weeks. We've already got some employers. Getting the employers is not the issue right now because, as you know, we can drive down the street and see 20 businesses between here and the interstate that has hiring, and this is true across the nation. So don't feel like just because our communities right now are seeing that in this region, it's just in our area. It's not. This is true nationally. We're having an issue with hiring nationally.
And I have a question that you may not be able to answer, but you could probably find out maybe more quickly than I can. I understand now in the state of Kentucky, to continue drawing your unemployment, you're going to have to at least have checked with an employer.
That's correct. So the last year, I haven't been able to get out and do this type of work, so I've had to work on employment for the last year for the South Central region. I did not like that at all, and I'm glad I'm back out in the communities now. So, yes, we have met week before last, I believe it was, May the 9th. If anyone is on unemployment, they're going to have to do at least one job search a week. So what we're hoping that will do will help to get people to go actually out of their homes and out of their comfort zone that they've been in for the last year and go seek employment. Because we need those individuals, because if we don't get some people to work, what's going to end up happening is your company's going to start losing contracts, and they're going to start looking other places to try to find these individuals. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, they're going to look at other parts of the country, other parts of the world to try to find that. So we've got to get under control these employees or people not wanting to become employees.
Well, when they go on this job search like that and they turn that information back in, if they have actually been offered a job, will they continue to be paid unemployment benefits?
The way it's supposed to work is they are not. So if they go in there, for example, if I came to you and I'm drawing unemployment and you offer me a job, I have to accept that job and I have to turn that in to them that I did turn it down or did accept it either way. But if I turn it down, then they will remove me from unemployment payment. That's the way the procedure's supposed to work.
That should help the situation a little bit. Absolutely.
That is what we're hoping, absolutely. And that was one of the reasons why they went ahead and did that. Used to it was 2 per
Right.
week. And now
Just one.
And of course they've eased that the last year, and then starting May the 9th, it's going to be that you have to do 1 a week. And it's easy for you to do. So if you have somebody that you know is on unemployment, hopefully you're talking to them about getting back to work, but all they have to do is go into Focus, which is part of the unemployment website, and start that search.
Now, do we know what might happen? Let's say we've got someone on unemployment and they're supposed to be turning in this checklist weekly, and say 3-4 weeks go by and they've not turned it in. What happens in that situation?
Honestly, I can't really answer that because we are so short-staffed right now, I can't really answer what they will do. The way that it should work is they should be taken off of unemployment whenever they're offered that, because what happens is if your employers are working in the Focus program, that is part of the state program for unemployment, if they are on there and you see that that particular person has been on your website, because it's hard to describe just without actually being able to show you how it works. If they go on there and let's just McDonald's, and McDonald's has posted they need 3 or 4 people on there, and you go and seek for that position, they're more than likely going to offer you that job. Well, the state is going to know that because that's part of that unemployment program. It's all built together. Mm-hmm. So that's how they'll do it. Now, it may be a 3 or 4 backlash on it to where you don't have anything happen for those 3 or 4 weeks, but it should happen pretty quickly.
Gentlemen, are y'all aware of how many current jobs are available in the 10-county Brad?
It's a bunch, exactly.
As of January, we did our jobs report in December, and we should have one coming out pretty soon. As of January, in our 10-county area, we had 6,182 jobs available. And that's not just talking about your fast food restaurants. I'm talking about the whole gamut of every type of opening that there is in these 10-county region.
So if someone wants a job, they can get a job.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you have, I had a lady call me yesterday afternoon about 1 o'clock, and we was talking about Chad. Chad works for a staffing agency. He's running a staffing agency now. He has 2 branches he's over. So it works great for me because he's still in the 10-county region. So this young lady called me, and she's desperate for a job, and her unemployment's over with. So I just called Chad and said she's coming. He's put her to work this morning at 8 o'clock at a facility in whichever county it was. Good. So we have, if somebody is desperately needing a job, like immediately, I have those opportunities. If they're willing to work with us for a few days, I can get them to where they're going to be able to get a career, not just a job, started with some of these facilities that are opening right now.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the date of that job fair?
May the 19th, that's on a Wednesday, it'll be 9 to 2.
Out at the Sky facility?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to take this to court this afternoon and have Judge Harrison read this off to some folks who show up and claim they're employees.
Absolutely. And
We get
Right.
that. You have a job? Well, no, why not? And so, guess what? We got something for you.
And we'll even, Sam, once we get the flyer, we'll even send the flyers with you to court.
a bunch of my cards, you can give it to the judge, and he can hand it to them, and they can call me. That's all they got to do. Yeah, and I wish Aaron was here because he could talk more about those situations, Mr. Phelps, of those reentry type of situations and opportunities that he has through programs. I unfortunately don't work with that side of the business, so I'm not sure exactly what programs, monetary gains that you all could get from that. Hopefully, we can get him back up here pretty soon and be able to talk to you all a little further. And he would love to meet with the jailer as soon as he could, because,
He's right there.
all right, if you don't mind, if I can get your card and give it to Aaron, he's a great asset. Yes, pardon? Oh, okay. He's a great asset to have, and we can talk further on that, okay?
We met last week with Chad.
Okay.
And of course, I'm used to dealing with Chad in your position, so yes, we'd be glad.
Okay.
Provided everything works out.
No, it's a phenomenal thing. It
Oh,
really
yeah,
is.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Hopefully he gets down here in a little bit. I hope he's just a little delayed. He's not had an accident or anything. He can still get in touch with you today.
That's fine.
Does anybody have any questions for me? Anything else?
Any questions, gentlemen?
If I don't know it, I can make it up.
James, I appreciate you coming and sharing the information. I'm really glad to hear we're having the job fair, and I'm really glad to hear that this new checklist, this one checklist on the unemployment will knock people off if they refuse to take the job, because I
Right.
think there's plenty of jobs to be had if people are wanting to work.
And the thing about it is, we've in the past been talking about not having good wage jobs. Well, this pandemic has changed that, because people are realizing they can't get anyone to work, because if you don't pay them a livable wage, they can live off of unemployment. So if you don't start paying them a livable wage, so we're seeing anywhere from $15 to $18 hourly wages for entry-level positions now, where before it was 10 to 13, because you can't get the individuals, you can't keep them because they're getting subsidized more than what you would actually pay them. So we're seeing the employers actually increase the entry-level rates and things like that. So that's definitely a blessing on that part of it, a plus.
Yeah. All right.
Well, everybody has my card, and you can read through this pamphlet. Anytime you need anything, just reach out to me, email, or my cell phone is on there as well.
All right, just when y'all get the flyer, the information together
I'll
for
email
the
it to you,
job
sir.
fair, email it to us, and we'll start spreading it out.
I absolutely will. Thank you all for allowing me to be here to speak to you today.
All right, thank you for
Appreciate
coming, James. All right, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our April 20th regular fiscal court meeting, I need a motion and a second. Oh, is Aaron here? All right, Aaron, you got 2 minutes, Aaron. James asked for 2 minutes for you, so that's what we're going to give you. But if you wouldn't mind, step to the microphone.
I'd like to apologize for the big tardy. It was a little bit weather for a 2-hour drive. So, yes, I work for the Workforce Board, and I'm the Regional Reentry Coordinator. I partner with county attorneys throughout the region. And what I do with that is help facilitate an individual's reentry into the workforce before it becomes a persistent problem. With the Department of Corrections and Probation and Parole, they're a valuable asset. However, they are for state-level inmates. A lot of times, and I'm sure the county attorney can confirm this, his office is a hub for individuals in some kind of need, whether that be food, clothing, housing, or something that has contributed to maybe being judicially involved, justice involved. What we try to do is intercede at the earliest point we can and start providing community resources. And that's the key, is getting a community together, engaging the community in an individual's reentry into society. And that's what we really focus and push on. So I would love to bring some of my programming to Simpson County and assist your citizens, because we have a workforce problem, and that is a community problem. It's a state problem when we talk about it. Workforce engagement, again, a state problem. We can address this at a community level, and I've been tremendously successful with the counties that I'm involved in. And I'm not talking about just, when you think reentry, you're thinking hardened criminals, child support divisions. I support a lot of child support divisions, and it's doing really well. We just add a level of assistance paired with judicial accountability to empower these individuals to build up our communities and strengthen our workforce. So I would be happy to speak with anybody longer than the 2 minutes and kind of explain what we're doing. But I would love to bring this to Simpson County. There's opportunity here. There are good people here, and your community is amazing. We live in a community that's ready to help and jump in here, and by doing that, focusing on the individual, we can build something amazing. So I will be available to speak with everybody at length if you'd like to.
Okay, and I'd say you'd probably like to get connected with the jailer. Have you?
Absolutely. I passed it on the way in, and we're going to link up after this. But also, we do bring programming and things of that nature into detention facilities, both to help the inmates and to help the operation of the jail. And so that's something that I would love to if I can get involved.
So when y'all implement those programs, how exactly do they work?
It just depends. What I like to say is each county, each community operates differently. And that's the great thing about how our county or how the Commonwealth is structured. So, for instance, your county attorney might say, I don't need anything with my criminal docket, my district docket, but I really want you to help with child support. Absolutely, no problem. We can do that. We will formulate and change programming to meet the needs of that community. There are some communities that I only interact with child support. As far as detention facilities, again, what is the need? My initial push would be, we need to start some education, some awareness building within the facility as far as the inmates. There are facilities that run a pilot program where inmates are able to go and work out in the community and make a wage, and then they're paying off their debt to society or the debt to the county while they're incarcerated.
Which the Simpson County Detention Center was doing that prior to COVID.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I haven't made it this far yet in my regional stretch, but that's the thing. And what we can do is, again, a lot of times in the reentry world, we tell a person that they have to operate within a certain box. That may not be the case. An individual, it takes an individualized approach, but we have to provide and facilitate opportunities outside of the box to make an individual or to assist an individual in being successful. That's what I explore with the leadership of the detention center, county, judicial entities, things of that nature. So, but I will be available outside if anybody would like to speak with me. Would love to have a conversation. Would love to share my information with you because I really think we can do great things here.
All right, sounds good, Aaron.
And everything I do also is directly correlated with Mr. Moore. So again, we're here for the support.
He's very formal. I'm not just
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming today. I'm glad you made it safely. We was worried that you might have hydroplaned off the road or something.
I tell you what, it was a rainy ride, so thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, gentlemen, if you've had an opportunity to review the minutes of our April 20th regular fiscal court meeting, I need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
Motion move.
Motion by Nate. Second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, gentlemen, we've had a couple of work sessions, budget work sessions. Today we have before you to review and approve the first reading of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.228. Just 3 points that I need to point out. We did determine that the litter abatement money that comes to the road department could be transferred over to the jail, and that a detention center deputy, we could hire part-time to orchestrate that program and use that litter abatement money to cover it. That's been plugged in. The city has also made a request to fund a new position for a detention center deputy. That's been plugged in. And then we found out late yesterday that our health insurance renewal actually was going to be no increase. So we were able to dial back the county contribution to the same level that it currently is. All the nothing about the insurance will change. The premium will be the same, the coverage will be the same, everything should remain the same. And other than that, everything in the budget is just like we've looked at.
So moved.
Got a motion from Marty on the budget ordinance number 220.228 for fiscal year 21-22.
Just looking at something here real quick.
Okay. Got a second from Scott. Any question or discussion? You need a second, Myron?
No, I found what I was looking for.
Okay, all right. So Pam, on the ordinance, we'll have a roll call.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes. All right, gentlemen, next on the agenda, if you had an opportunity on the portal to review this information about establishing the bank account for the American Recovery Act funds, we're slated to get this money possibly sometime next week, I think is the date on that, and the county treasurer has everything in order as far as Dunn's number, Sam's number, and all those different numbers, but we do have to have an actual account established for that money to go into, and unlike some others, we are able to put this in an interest-bearing account. You see, we had two banks that were basically identically the same at a 0.5, and then we had one bank that come back at 0.09, and we just need a motion and a second as to which bank to set this Recovery Act money into once it actually arrives, because we'll have to establish the account and have all of those routing numbers and all of that in place once that money comes.
And it doesn't matter which one we use.
It doesn't matter which bank we use. And the two, and I don't mind, South Central and Franklin Bank were identical in what they offered as far as interest rates and amount of withdrawals and your minimum balances.
I'm going to move for South Central Bank simply because we've got a lot in Franklin Bank, and it might be good to have it spread out a little bit.
So Marty's made a motion that we establish this account at South Central Bank. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Who was that?
Myron.
I did. Did you?
Yeah.
Myron, so Myron second. I heard both of you speak, but I couldn't tell which one spoke first. All right. Any question or discussion about that? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, gentlemen, there's some information about the AEDs. County Treasurer has looked that we could actually incorporate that into the current budget and not have to establish this into the next budget. But the question being, what do we want to do? And this is some information that's on the portal that I had gotten from our ambulance service director. And you see the cost of a new piece of equipment that's identical to what the ambulance is carrying. It's $22.95 per unit. And then there are some reconditioned ones that he has put down here. And he claimed, if you look at line number 2 on the reconditioned, the $868 machine, he said would serve just fine. And he said not for us to get hung up on the compatibility with what they had, because they could actually switch out their pads in less than 10 seconds, which is more than the time frame. Like if you put the AEDs on someone and shock them, I think you've got a long, he said the wait time between the next shock is longer than it takes them to change out pads.
What will be the warranty of this? Roughly. Because I see that the money difference is quite a bit. And
Yeah.
being recertified, that's good if they stand behind it, but, we know what a new one is. What is a refurbishment on?
Yeah, I can't answer that, Nate.
Well, one of them says recertified, and the other one says refurbished, as far as the defibrillator payment goes.
Right. But the one that is brand new is the one that's $22.95. Those would be the cost of a brand new one, so I don't know.
I'd like to know about the, when they say recertified, does that, like Nathaniel had stated, does that carry the same?
Well, this may be partly on me. I had asked Dale if he could be with us this morning, and he said he would, but I did not call and remind him yesterday. And so that could be partly on me, or something could have happened. There was some accidents this
I
morning.
talked to him this morning and told him we had a court meeting, but I just heard that they had a wreck on 100.
Yeah, they've had
He
a
may
couple
be
of
out there
accidents
on
this
it.
morning, so I'm sure they've been busy. And so, I mean, we've still got time to get this order in before the end of this fiscal year if we want to hold this, and maybe Dale could be at our next meeting too.
This is exactly what happened last time we talked about buying these. There were some that, we couldn't decide on new or recertified or refurbished.
And that's why I told
Exactly what happened.
Basically, it's hard to figure out what the difference between
Well, he did make a note that the recertified was a good option.
Yeah, he's got in his notes that it was the recertifieds are a good option. But I understand, and I trust the emergency management director, I trust the fire chief and their knowledge, but, our ambulance director, I'm going to trust his knowledge also. If you got, and I agree that it's good to have these in place, but we do want to make the best decision.
I'm going to trust their knowledge on this a lot more than I would trust either four.
Yeah, I have no knowledge.
We don't know.
Yeah, I have no knowledge. So if y'all prefer that we wait and we see if we can lasso the ambulance director to our next meeting, we can try to do that.
If we could just have something
Bob, you
from
got any?
the ambulance director or emergency manager or sheriff or somebody that's familiar with these things, and just say, these are your best options.
Bob, did you talk with Dale about these here?
I was actually sitting at his desk when he talked to his, the person he called to get the price on the new one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there's another one, the refurbished of the Life Pack that's 1,300 something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly which one it was. Dale's, I can't speak for him, but what I heard him say was, what he told me, his choice would be the $1,300 one, the refurbished. The guy, the salesperson that he would be buying these things from, said he's got no qualms whatsoever about using a refurbished machine.
Yeah, actually, that $1,300 one is called recertified.
Yeah.
Hey, Dale just texted me. I guess he's watching. He said he'll be here in 15 minutes.
Well, let's just table this till he gets here.
That's a
We'll
good
move on
idea.
to a different item.
He was also talking about doing CPR classes and stuff too on top of that, so.
All right. We'll hold off on this until he arrives. And I'll have to apologize to him, because I told him I'd call him Monday and remind him, and I didn't do that. So moving on down, next, gentlemen, is to review or approve office space for Human Rights Commission. And I can't give you much background on this because obviously I was not here, so I don't know. But at one point, the county had provided an office space for the Human Rights Commission in this room over, it'd be to our left as I'm sitting. The circuit judge's office. I don't know what happened, that the plaster started falling off. I mean, the room is in pretty bad disrepair. It cost quite a bit of money to rehab it. We've not spent that money. We have recently redone a room up here up front to have kind of a more soundproof executive session room, which is going to leave this old executive session jury room completely open. with desks and chairs. And of course, I've had quite a few contacts with some folks from the Human Rights Commission recently, and I think some of that stems, I can't say for sure because no one said this directly to me, but I think some of it stems from the newspaper done a story that the county provided office space for the South Central Kentucky Drug Task Force, which is basically true, but it's not the whole story. What we had was a hole in a building that needed everything. I mean, it needed paint, heat and air, had no desks, no chairs, no anything, and the Drug Task Force is actually spending close to $30,000 of their own money to get that building where they could use it, and it was money that we weren't going to spend in that building. But now we're in a position, because we just recently finished this one room, that we could accommodate an office space back here. We may eventually do some more rearranging with OEM director's office, but at the time being, if everyone's good, we can use this space back here for Human Rights Commission office and meeting space.
Second.
And so is that a
So furnished and everything just stays as is?
Yeah, we're just going to offer them, we're going to provide them that room as is. I mean, it's carpeted, tables, chairs, heat and air's there. Yeah, but
Good idea.
I never did know that they used this room much when they
Yeah,
were in it, but I'm fine with that.
yeah.
I don't think it's something they're gonna use a lot.
Bill?
I know they've been talking about getting space back in the air for quite some time. They've pulled me aside more than once, so I know, I'm sure they've done the same with you, Judge.
Do you have something?
They were moved out of this space because actually we had some leaks and the whole ceiling fell.
So,
I mean, the whole ceiling came down,
Roof leaks
plastered.
is what caused the plaster to come
Yes,
down?
and we got the roof leaks fixed, but, you know, it's in bad disrepair. It's gonna have to have new ceilings and more electrical, and when we did this renovation in here, we did add air ducts, so we have heat and air in that area. But the only thing about these other areas that are available is that it's not ADA. We don't have anything available in this building that's ADA. So, I mean, if they accept the space, it will have to be under the conditions that they don't need ADA accessible. So that would be the only drawback for this, any of the areas.
I mean, that's with practically any room in this entire courthouse, as far as that goes. Because even the ramp to get in is not ADA compliant today. So, I mean, I don't know, do we have to do this by motion?
I think you do by motion if you're going to provide space for them, but then have to say where.
Okay. So Myron's made the motion. Nate, did you second the motion?
Yes.
Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, is this for any space, or are we
This will be for the
specifically
old
just-
executive session room, or otherwise known as the jury room.
The old lower courtroom.
Okay. It will be for the only available space we have at the moment. All right, next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review Resolution 2021-05-04 EMP-PW, I would need a motion and a second to approve this resolution, and this is to hire a part-time or a seasonal, I guess is a better way to put it, Public Works employee that would start effective May 10th of 2021 and run through October 31 of 2021.
So moved.
Motion by Marty, second by Scott. Question or discussion? That motion carries. Pam, I may need some help on this next one because I don't see dates with it, but we have some recommendations to approve for Extension Board appointment members. Constance Blaine to be appointed to the District Board vacancy, And I guess it would run concurrent with Ms. McCutcheon's existing term, which was through, and I don't have that date. So, but I think we can simply say that we would fill her unexpired term, whatever the length of that is. I just don't have that date in front of me. But as all y'all are aware, Ms. Catherine McCutcheon passed away some months ago, a couple of months ago. And so the Extension Board is trying to fill that vacancy, and their recommendation was Constance Blaine.
So, man,
So we got a motion by Marty, second, did you second it, Nate?
Second, yeah.
Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And then next, gentlemen, is to review and approve the sheriff's postage meter lease. I see. Yeah. Yeah, and is that the same, the current amount? There you go. So there we go, nearly $50. Motion by Myron to approve that postage meter lease. Second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Dale, did I see you walk up out there? First thing I want to do is apologize to you, because I think I told you I'd call and remind you about our meeting, and I failed to do that.
That's okay.
But I do appreciate you really willing to come. We got your information on the AEDs and the recertified and the new ones and the cost. So we're just trying to figure out what do we really need?
Can I
here,
see
you
that,
want to look at
please?
it?
Okay, I actually called the vendor on the way over here because I heard your question. He said the warranty on the recertified was 2 years, but he said he would stand behind them for 5. So,
And what's the warranty on the brand new one?
5.
So basically it would be the same warranty.
True, but and I think I told Bob, don't get caught up in the new. The recertifieds, they replace all the boards in them. Scott Meyer can relate to that. The case is just the case, but the internal parts are all new.
So all of the operational parts of it is all still new. Yes. It's just in an older case.
So the $1,345 one is really just as good as the $2,200.
True, because they can't release those. They would be in lawsuits if they didn't function properly.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as working, you're going to get the same thing. And they sell these recertifieds to hundreds of fire departments and EMSs across the United States. So
Now, do these have to be checked every so often because they have batteries in them to make them work?
they do. The only thing you got to replace is the batteries and the pads.
Okay. Now, how often do you replace? I mean,
I think the pads are a year.
and the batteries are the same? Okay.
Not necessarily, but it'll have an indicator on the batteries. You know when to charge.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Dale, other than purchasing the actual machine, are there other associated costs? I mean, like, do we need to have like some type of case sitting on the wall that this is behind a case?
You should, just as long as you have it in a central location where everybody's aware of where it's at.
And obviously, I mean, we don't have a price on those cases, but
$50.
okay, so you're talking 50 times 8 cases is $400.
But we're also, when we're talking about this, talking about spending what, $2,400,
we were talking about spending
$2,600?
over $2,000 a piece on 8 of them, so we was at like $18,000 or $20,000. And you're going to be talking, these would be $10,760 plus the cases, so you're $11,200 for the case to put them
But
in.
we're talking about buying 8. I tell you, if they could be used, if we have a place for them, I would go with 10 instead of 8 if we can get them at this price. If we have a place for 2 more.
The bottom line is they all do the job.
Yeah.
It's just been a few more bells and whistles and a prettier display. But as far as them working, it doesn't matter if you use the cheapest one or the most expensive. They're just not going to release those and they'd be sued tomorrow. So
Well, if you're okay with a $1,300 one,
That's one we'll go with.
that was my suggestion. That's kind of in the middle of the road.
and then that would be, I know that's ultimately up to you all, but from a legal lawyer standpoint, if backs it up and he says the $1,300 one's the way to go, then that's probably what y'all need to do.
And I,
They're compatible, Dale, with what you guys got.
They are, and just
Chad,
like,
are they compatible with what y'all have at the jail? I mean,
of course, the one. You guys have four. They've got, the ones at the jail, Myron, I mean, they wouldn't be interchanging those with any of these. The only people that would be interacting with these would be the ambulance service on a call.
and I believe the physios, is that the $1,300 ones?
Life Pack,
It's
AED,
It's
with graphic display.
Is it Life Pack 10?
the Life Pack 1000.
Yeah, Life Pack
Okay,
1000.
those, like you was talking about earlier, those leads will actually interchange with ours, so it's actually just a plug-in.
Yeah.
But again, I just don't let that bother you.
Yeah, I was telling them, you said that like, once you shock someone, there's a wait time.
2 minutes.
And y'all can change the pads just like that. You said, literally 10 seconds, y'all can change pads.
True, but the middle of the road one that I suggested are interchangeable with ours, so
Yeah.
that was just my suggestion. So,
Okay. So I move we buy, how many were we gonna buy? 8?
We had 8 is what we had slated, and we had locations for those 8.
Okay. Do we need 2 more?
That's a question for Bob and the sheriff, and and
Then I'll move we buy 10 of the Life Pack 1,000 AEDs for the quoted price here of $1,345 a piece.
would you also include in that motion to purchase the acrylic boxes to
Yeah.
to put them in?
And the anything associated with putting them in, the boxes or whatever. And then we'll still be a lot less than what we were thinking we were gonna be.
Oh, yeah, we'll be $7,000, $8,000 under what we
Right.
was expecting 8 of them to be. So Marty's made a motion to purchase 10 and the associated equipment to hang them on the wall. Myron second. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Dale, I appreciate you being willing to come at a moment's notice like that. And again, I apologize for not calling and reminding you we were meeting today.
we just had a little bit going on this morning.
Yeah, I heard. I hope everything was okay with it.
All right, thank you.
Good, thank you. Thank you, Dale. All right, gentlemen, next, if you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we just need a motion and a second to approve those. So, did y'all
So
hear
it's
that?
budget transfers plus 9,500, but we don't. Is it for the aid? Is
For
it
the
these
AEDs. She's saying if we want to add the AEDs in, we need to add the additional 9,500.
Okay, that's fine.
But, and that will cover, that will get, because we've got money in the other lines that will cover some of the others, so it'd take about 9,500.
Made the motion. Second.
that's fine.
Are you good with amending that 9,500 to it?
Okay, who was it, Thurman?
And Downey.
And
Okay,
Nate, you
thank you.
seconded it? Any other question or discussion there? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, is to review and approve a cash transfer of $87,516 from the general fund to the jail. Nicole, does this one cover the small bond payment that's going to have to be made? Is it? It's already been done. So this is just to cover other expenses and claims that.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we'd need a motion and a second to approve those.
So moved.
Motion by Marty, second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain.
I have one abstention, so motion carries. All right, gentlemen, on to reports. Last week, I was on a call with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet about the SHIFT program. There are 4 programs that are in the mix to go into the state road plan here in Simpson County. Those 4 plans total, let's see here, 2, 28, 34, a little over $40 million if we're able to get any, or if we're able to get all of them in. So the number one is still to improve the safety and mobility at the intersection of Kentucky 1008 and US 31W. That was the number one in the last one, and it got nowhere. It's our number one in this one. We'll see where it gets, but if we only get one, that is our number one priority. And as it goes down through, it may be October before we even know what all plans are approved or not. So I'll try to keep you posted on where these get as we go through the check process through the state. I don't think you'd be interested in this. We met last week about some health insurance options. This was prior to the news we got yesterday afternoon that we would actually see no increase in premium. But we did get a quote back from Humana, and it was a little over $80,000 a year more than we're currently paying. So they talked about a kind of a hybrid self-insured plan, but your maximum exposure at what we could see versus what a renewal is at no increase, it's only $14,000 in savings. But the problem is, if you go the self-insured rate, and I'm telling you all that to tell you this, we could still do that and save maybe no more than $14,000. The problem is, if we go that route and we do hit that maximum, that rate will go way up next year, and once you get out of the plan we're in, we're not able to get back in it. So I feel like we're all pretty comfortable where we're at, but I did want to share that information with you.
It's not worth the county.
I would totally agree. The next is we are needing to have a joint meeting with the city. There's about 3 items that we really need to discuss, and they have proposed a meeting time of a week from today, May the 11th at noon, here at the courthouse.
Okay.
All right. I just wanted to let you know about that. One other thing, gentlemen, we do need to take a look at, and we can handle this however you guys would like to, because if we proceed with this, the cost is going to be under the threshold that requires bids, although we've gotten, quotes from 3 different places here. But with the situation from DOC and not being able to have inmates out unless they're with a detention center deputy, evidently then we can't use the equipment that is purchased out of the commissary fund. So there's 2 mowers with our public works, and then a mower with the park that the city has tentatively agreed to cover half of that cost if we agreed to purchase it and cover our half. So the question being, basically where we're at is, if we're either going to have to decide to fund another detention center deputy position to do nothing but go out with mowing crews. And I don't know, Bobby can speak to this more than I can, I don't know that is a full-time, 12-month-a-year situation. Or we're going to have to work on replacing those mowers probably as quickly as possible. And you see some of the quotes and obviously I would like Bobby involved in this. It's kind of like the AEDs. He'll know more about what we're needing and what we're doing, but the one quote from the one local, the mowers the size that the public works said they need, you're talking about under $8,000, and the one the size that the park would need would be just about 8137.
Now, let's say if we went with this route, what would happen with the old mowers?
They would go back to the jail. I guess they would sell through surplus auction and go back into the commissary account. So, I mean, I guess we're going to have to decide, is that what we're going to do? But if we are going to purchase mowers, the way I would like to handle this would be to authorize myself and the Public Works Director to examine which one of these locally owned businesses is going to best. I mean, we have 3 quotes, 2 of these are local, and based on cost, I think doing business here local is what we need to do. But I would like Bobby's involvement in figuring out which one of these actually fits the bill.
Well, not only Bobby, but I'd like to know from Tim or whoever at the park
Right.
what mower they use and what size they need. I mean, I know, I looked at this, but, you know, a couple days ago, the first time I'd seen this, and I don't think Bobby had seen it this morning, so I don't know what size, as long as we got what size they need out there, I'd just say go ahead and buy them and be done with them. But I think Myron said there was a sand rake out there at the park too that belongs to the commissary fund. Is that correct, Myron?
Conversation I had with Eric, he wasn't sure. The day he and I talked, there's 2 sand rakes out there currently. And I was under the impression, Chad, you may shine some light, I was under the impression the newer of the 2 belonged to the commissary. That's what I thought, but I don't know that for a fact.
I think there was a deal worked out several years ago where some other things were purchased. The jail was able to save the county some money, and the county turned around and bought those sand rakes for the park. I think that's how that went down. I actually don't think that the commissary owns those sand rakes. Or that sand rake, I don't know how many they have. I don't think commissary owns that.
Belongs to the county, we know that. The new one is questionable.
We need to find out for sure. Can you find out for sure on that? Okay.
I did talk to Tim Cook, and they, for whatever reasons, they've been using the older sand rake to rake around the ball field. This was a conversation I had last week. So,
Okay. I was just saying, if we're going to do that, we need to be looking, see, make sure we don't need any more equipment out there, because if we're going to need to buy something, I don't want to wait till it gets time for them to start playing ball, and then they go, well, we can't use these now, so I want to, just make sure they got the equipment they need. But
is that something Chad or Eric, y'all could find out?
What's that?
About that sand rake out there? I mean,
Yeah, we'll look at that.
I don't know.
I guess it would be me and Nicole, she'll have to look on her side, we'll look on ours. I don't think, I know when that thing was purchased, we either surplus the money to the county, Marty, you were involved, the park was short money, and we transferred, or we bought it out of maybe we transferred the money back into the gym, and then we bought it out of the commissary. I don't know. I know we were involved, but I don't know who technically owns it. If we technically own it, it goes back to the commissary. If y'all technically own it, it goes to y'all.
well, it's been so long, I don't remember. I know you were involved with it. That's the reason I was asking.
I know it was expensive.
Yeah.
I don't think it was over $16,000.
Right. I just wanted to make sure, where we were at on the equipment.
Well, you need a motion
Well,
for you and
Yeah,
Bobby to check into.
and to make a purchase based on what best suits their needs. And I mean, I know this may be a little uncommon, but we're talking about a cost, depending on which route we go, for all three mowers of somewhere between $24,000 and $27,000 for all three. Even if we go the highest route on the parks mower, I mean, the city would reimburse us that half, which would be roughly 45. So even on the highest route, our net out would be like 22.5.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion for you guys to purchase whatever you want to do.
that you can negotiate way out and hopefully buy from our local vendors.
Yeah, you see, we've got quotes from two local dealers. We would definitely purchase from one of those.
Look like you could maybe buy one from one from another, still save money here.
So Scott, you made a motion?
Yes, sir.
Myron, you stated, is there any question or discussion of that? Bobby, do you have anything you want to share about it? Okay,
I have a question.
okay.
Are we specifying a certain amount of money to be spent, or just at your discretion?
You want to say up to $27,000? Because I don't think we'll spend more than that at all. I don't think it's possible, based on these quotes, I don't think it's possible to spend more than that.
That's fine. If you need,
Do you want to add that to your motion up to 27,000?
And is it for three?
It'll be for two for the county and one jointly purchased with the city for the
I
park.
think a trimmer or two.
And there was like a trimmer.
Okay, the trimmer, is this?
Weed eater.
Oh, okay.
And you gotta have, one push mower.
Okay, so
Three.
there are,
3 riding mowers, a push mower, 2 weed eaters.
okay, thank you.
Are you sure that's all?
Pretty sure. All right, so you're good with that motion, Scott? Myron, you're good with the second on that motion? Any other question or discussion? The only question I have is, do we need to amend a transfer? Does that need to be a separate motion, Sam, back to, okay, so we met the motion in the second to make the purchase up to 27. All in favor, aye? Aye. Now we need a motion in a second to make a second amendment to the budget transfers for the $27,000. Myron, Scott, second. Any question or discussion there? All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right. I'm done with my reports. Myron?
I don't have any.
Scott? Nate?
Yeah, with the Boy and Girl Club, we had a meeting last week, and they're gonna start the summer down there, starting on June the 7th. They're already taking registration for kids. They're already almost filled up for the maximum number that they want to have, which is 100 kids down there this summer. It's filling up pretty fast, so we got like a little bit of time left before it starts on June the 7th. And 80% of the staff down there has been vaccinated. And then they're continuing on pushing it to where they can get all of them vaccinated. The national conference for the BGCA is going on now. The 4th, 5th, and 6th of this month has been taking place. And that's all I have on the Boys and Girl Club. And the Parks and Rec Board, we also met last week also. And all the baseball games and softball games is being played as of now. They've already started out there. We're going to be having a financial audit starting this year annually. That's something that we haven't really had in the past out there. the financial audit. So that's one thing that we voted on that's going to start happening. And all restrictions has been lifted for out there. Because beforehand, starting out the season, the kids and parents and all was going to be going by certain guidelines. Well, all that's been lifted now. So pretty much out at the park, everything is pretty much back to normal now. The kids be able to go in the dugouts, all the family and friends be able to come and watch their little ones play. We also had a group out there that came to our meeting. It's called a REACH group. That's Racial Equality Through Action and Community Health Organization. They had came out there because, last year they brought up to us about trying to do some over at Lincoln Park, to upgrade that some. So they had came with a diagram for us to look at, and it's going to be no money out of our pocket. They're fundraising all of this themselves. And it's going to be in 3 phases that they're going to do it over there. They're going to start with the 3rd phase first. And then as time go on over the next couple of years, they're going to keep moving to one of the other 2 phases until it's all completed. A lot of the stuff should be out there on social media right now, as far as the diagram. And eventually they're going to have a board up over there by the park showing what it's going to look like when it's all completed. And it's like right across the street from Lincoln Elementary. Right there, right around the corner of John J. Johnson, and I think that's West Street. It's going to start right there, and it's going to go down to the ball fields. Also, there was a young man there that was part of the organization here in Franklin, and he's going to try to orchestrate a musical festival out there, out at the park this summer. It's going to be made up of different groups out there, and right now it's projected time frame they're looking at maybe July 24th, going from 12 to 8.
At the park?
Out at the park on the lower end.
And which group did you say is put it together?
I forgot the name of the organization that he's part of.
Okay.
But he's going to go back because he was wanting us to, he came to bring it to us to see if we would allow something that could happen. He's going to finish working out all the details, and then he's going to bring it back to us, and then most likely, then we'll know more. But right now, it looks like it's going to be projected around July 24th, and they're going to try to have anywhere between 15 to 20 food trucks out there. So it sounds like a pretty good event. Yeah. It's going to be free for the public. They're not charging anything for people to will come out there and listen to any type of music that they choose. So we agreed for him to go ahead and look into that to try to bring it out there. But I'll bring further information to you as time go on about this event out there. And that's all that I have as far as my 2 groups between the Boys and Girls Club and the Parks and Rec Board.
Marty, I'm going to back up before I get to you. One thing I failed to mention, and no one really asked, but in case anybody's wondering why Sydney's up here today, Pam will be off next week, so Sydney's doing a crash course on taking minutes so she can do the minutes in our joint meeting next week. And I will say, and she may hurt me after this, but I will say, Sydney is doing an outstanding job learning bits of everything in my office, and Carter, I think you would say the same about what she's learning and doing in planning and zoning office, that she's doing an A1 top-notch job. And so she's getting a crash course on recording fiscal court meeting minutes this morning. Okay, Marty.
I just want everybody that's watching to know that I've questioned several times on when they're going to pave Gold City Road. When Joe Plunk and them were here, they were saying by the end of April. Is what they told us at that meeting. And then last week they said within 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know. Just as soon as Scottish can get there, that road is horrible. And I get calls on it every day, just about.
Yeah.
And then I had a lady that messaged me last night talking about the trash cans at the parking lot on Barnesville Road.
Yes, I got that same message.
Yeah, well, Bobby, he's going to go out and clean them up, but he was saying that they were pretty disgusting the way that people were throwing bait in them. And if this continues to be a problem, maybe we don't even need a trash can. They can take their trash with them. Yeah. And instead of having a place there, you would think it'd be a good idea, but if it gets bad, we'll just maybe take the trash cans out, and that way nobody has to go clean them out. They can take their trash with them out there, but, you know, the lady said a lot of people out there wasn't in favor of the parking lot, but I disagree with that. I think the majority of the people in the area enjoy being able to cross the bridge without it being about all the cars sitting on it. I mean, it isn't near as bad as Southern Ford. So, that's the only two things I had.
All right. Counselor?
Do we need to take up that proposed interlocal agreement?
No, we will do that at our next meeting.
Okay.
Yes. I want to, you're good, the city's good, but I want to make sure that Logan County and the city of Russellville are all good before we actually do it. But as long as we have it in place by July 1, we're good.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't see it on the agenda. All right. Never mind.
Sheriff, do you have anything? No report, sir. I guess the jailer left. Carter, you have anything with planning and zoning? Bob, anything with emergency management? Fire chief out there?
Yep.
No report from the fire chief. Bill, anything from maintenance? Bobby, anything from public works? Gentlemen, I do need to ask for a motion to go into executive session according to KRS 61.810. This would be paragraph L, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual. It's not to sell or deliver. In paragraph G, discussions between a public agency and representative of a business entity and discussions concerning a specific proposal that if open discussions would jeopardize the siting, retention, expansion, or upgrading of the business. So got a motion by Nate, second by Scott. All in favor? Aye.